Hi there. In this video, I'm going to cover treating geometry, specifically this piece here. Whenever there is a piece of geometry that has more resolution in certain area, and then it goes out to have less resolution per space, it starts to have more tension. What do I mean by resolution per space? So in this relatively tight area, you can see here you have good amount of resolution or definition that will allow the geometry to give nice look. But for such large faces and surfaces here, especially that they are curved, you would need a lot more subdivisions in order for you to match the resolution that's happening here. Whenever we have a situation like that where we have large space and then smaller space inside that has more subdivisions, technically we would get some tension, and we want to reduce that tension. And the best way to reduce tension is to look for the vertex or the area that has the most traffic, if you must, or the most push for surface change. That is the area that suffers from the most tension. And this is where a lot of the situations lead to stars. So if I smooth this out, you can see here, this is what is called a star. Star is usually a vertex that has more than 4 edges. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you have a fifth, that would be a star. The star usually, this is one of the nightmares sometimes when it comes to modeling a face. My goal is going to take this star and transfer it somewhere outside the contour or the edge where a lot of the modification is going to happen for that surface or the tension, and to push it not near the edge, not near the area here, but rather somewhere, bury it in the middle. Here's an example from face modeling. You can see here we have one star and one star here and another here and another here and another here. And this is like flooded with stars. You always hear people obsessing about quads, even when it's not even necessary or needed. Just out of habit, people assume that quads are the best. Quads are good, but only when they are needed. Meaning, if you're going to modify a face, like if you want to make this face smile, as long as you have quads, it's going to transition and morph, especially when you are using blend shapes. When you have quads, it would always look good. But when you have stars, if you had a star somewhere here or here, this one is kind of quite tricky if you want to push strong expressions with the mouths. This would be a problem because it starts to break the surfaces, because you're putting too much. It's almost like asking a pixelated image to give you a high resolution image. You're asking that surface to give you smooth definition when it's pretty limited and one area has so much traffic to it. That's why, technically speaking, the task of the modeler is to hide those stars, push them as far as possible from the areas when you need to have very smooth surfaces. So this would be good, almost ideal, because no matter how much you smile, unless this is like a psychopath with some insane facial morphing changes, you wouldn't get the skin to show or to be pressured in this area to the point where you break the geometry smoothness. My goal in this example here is to find a way to take this star on a journey far away from the edge of this dip and to potentially just locate it here, somewhere there. So with that said, I'm going to share with you the time lapse that I did for the geometry, and hopefully you find this helpful. Thank you.
I left my heart in New York that snow white Saturday. Snowflakes were falling and the taxi spun out in this endless Milky Way. New York, you're so lonely with your cold white arms. I close my eyes and every time I'm coming back to you. Columbus Circle was empty like it's never been before. Just a few lonely people and the horses outside the Sherry Netherland. New York, you're so lonely with your cold white arms. I close my eyes and every time I'm coming back to you.